these robots are based infrared robots, and the students learn how to program them. They're easy. We had a student that built an obstacle course, so they could run the robots through that.
Okay.
So yeah, it was really cool. The virtual reality, they learned about artificial intelligence, and they learned about how to see what career they wanted to be in. They learned how it impacts them. They're learning right now. They wanted to be an entrepreneur. So all of that the Kakula Institute offers.
Okay, so y'all have a jam-packed, it seems to be a jam-packed for kids and little explorers, I would say.
Yeah,
People that want to learn,
He said turn the mic on.
want to be able to figure out what is going on. They're here to stay. This is a historical building, but they're here to stay and offer these services. It is so important to be able to have, I would say, like STEM, right?
Yes. Anything that you want to learn about African American history, there is some science behind it, there is some engineering behind it, there's some math behind it, there's some art behind it. If you are interested in medicine, nursing, anything in healthcare, if you're interested in art, graphic design, if you're interested in music, entertainment, if you're interested in the law enforcement, the justice system, there is something or somebody or some event in African American history that's done it. And so that's one of the things that the blocks represents, that historic Belmont Village represents, is the possibility, all of the possibility
Give me the other microphone.
all of the possibility for our future. And so that's what the Kakula Institute represents.
Now, I can't say that, and I apologize. I'm going to try to say it. You say it's called what now?
The Kakula Institute.
That is called the Kakula Institute.
Yes.
Go ahead and get it, son. The Kakula Institute, ladies and gentlemen. Now, tell us, there must be some history around the word Kakula.
In Swahili, Kakula means growth. And so our idea is to discover, share, celebrate, and grow history in African American art, science, and technology.
Okay, art, science, and
History,
technology.
science, and technology. And so we believe that African Americans have contributed greatly to the world, and so that what you can learn, whatever you want to learn, someone in African American history has done that.
Has done that.
Yeah.
It seems like we truly, the African continent and us as a race, the motherland, the cradle of birthing things. Well, great, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go in and we're going to see what she's talking about, because I'm so excited, and I do apologize. My little mic is kind of giving me a little fussed here, but I believe we got it all situated.
Well, I'm glad we can even do it outside, right? Because
Yes.
all of the weather the last few weeks has been really challenging.
It's
so
been challenging, but look, it's so much blue in the
that's
sky.
right.
It's
That's
beautiful.
right. That's right. I'm excited. Well, we have there's one student and one parent still.
Okay. So take
still,
it off and follow
Still
me.
in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so.
All right, come on, guys. All right. And how's that hubby doing today?
He is doing good. He is right in here talking. Yep. We're live on camera. Come on in. We're on WBQP Channel 12. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's Troy here. That's right.
Hi, Danielle. Nice to
Troy,
meet
man.
you. Nice to meet you.
And you have a bright young man here I heard about.
Yes. Come on, introduce
How you
yourself.
doing? I'm Troy Mims.
My name is Christian Stewart.
Pleased to meet you, sir. All right, tell everybody right there what is so good about this place today. What you've learned today.
The robot.
Oh, let's take this.
Oh, okay.
How you doing, Mr. Good Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you, man. All right. Go ahead and tell the camera about it.
So this, from what I understand, is a programmable robot. It's a computer on that be able to show you, but you're able to make a program, you're able to make it talk, or you're able to make it and able to make it talk, make it stand up, sit down. There's more stuff, but I didn't really get to get into that. Robots over there. It's focused on an app on your phone.
Okay, show
I
us
think
that.
it's only iPhone.
Come on, get. I'll hold them up over here while you talk.
It's only iOS phones. But you're able to control them with your phones, and if you have like blocks like that are in there, you're able to control them.
Bring it up a little bit right there. Say it
You're
again.
able to iOS phones. You're able to control them with your phone and then move them around and stuff. There's different modes to it too. Like there's a coding mode, a battle mode, a dance mode. We didn't really go into that one. We mostly used the battle mode. But you're able to make obstacle courses and stuff with it. It's really fun.
Okay, great. I tell you what, let's explore.
Okay, I'm gonna
this app.
I'm gonna go back and restart this one here.
Okay, while she's restarting, tell us about you, where you go to school and what you like and some of your favorite things and colors. And
My name is Christian Stute. I'm going to Washington next year. I'm going in the 9th grade. My favorite color, blue and green.
okay,
Kind of, sort of recently, I learned that I wanted to do cybersecurity for my future. And this is a STEM area that I'm pretty sure over there they teach you about cybersecurity. I'm mostly got into the robot though.
awesome.
But
You want to show them how to operate the robot? Yes. Okay, I'm going to turn you the mic, and I'll hold the mic, and you can tell them what you're doing. Is that okay, Troy?
Yes,
Okay.
that's perfect.
Okay.
this is the
Okay.
Go right there, Fern is. Oh, no wonder it's not on. We apologize, ladies. There we go. Should be good now.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. I got that one set up for you. It's ready. Kamigami. Uh-huh.
This is the Kamigami app. You use it to control the robot. I think this is the run mode. It lets you control the robot. There are buttons. Yeah, you can change the color. You can do it without even using what's called. You can do it without controlling it.
So what he's doing is it's an infrared robot, and it's based on the Roach chassis that we were talking about when we were outside. And so what Christian is doing is he's using the gyroscope to control it. And so he learned this, and so he's been learning changing the different colors and things like that. Did you do the coding too?
Yeah.
You want to show them how you do the coding?
The code mode. There are different buttons or different things.
Oh, yeah. Let me do
So
that.
the first
let me
one,
do that.
this one is 2 steps,
Yes, sir.
1 step, 2 steps back, 1 step.
See.
I think this one's move left, this one's move right. You can change the colors. You can make it so that way it doesn't have a color at all. You can make it do different sounds. I'm pretty sure this one's for battle mode, actually. I would make a code, but I'm too lazy to make a obstacle course for it.
So you want to run your code then that you just did?
Actually, yeah, I'll do this
Okay.
one code.
Okay. So you can actually code, and he's doing. Go ahead and you can go ahead and do your code. and
So
then
you can do coding too?
Yeah, you can do coding, and it's a graphical interface. So it's like the icons that are on your phone. It's that sort of thing. So you don't have to know programming language. But if you want to know programming language, you can code them like that as well.
So it's getting them a brush start with coding.
That's right. That's right. This is an introductory level, and these robots. I mean, they're on the market they're like $50 each. But it's like a roach. It's like you can't kill a roach. You can't kill these robots. And we actually had 8-year-olds make these. Students who were part of the Milk and Honey Girls Club made these, and so they've been with us for about 3 or 4 years now. These robots have been with us, and so but this is the basic chassis.
The basic chassis.
So Christian just programmed one, so he's gonna tell him what you did and then
Make sure
show
you get
him.
it.
Since I don't have the obstacle course, I pulled something from my mind.
Okay.
It does 4 steps forward, that's 2 steps twice. I think it does a left turn, it goes back 1 step, does a right turn, then 2 steps forward. It might fall off the table, I'm not
Okay,
sure.
make sure you get that. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's
So he
nice.
did that like in what, 10, 15 seconds? He just sat here, he actually did about 2 different codings while we were sitting here talking, but that's what he showed you. But that's just how easy it is. All coding is following directions. So technology is not hard at all. And Christian just did that. He just learned about the Kamigami robots today and just coded them today. And so, I mean, this is our future, because he's talking about engineering, or what else you were saying?
Cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity, yeah. And
Yes.
at the age of 14?
Yeah, 14.
14.
15 in a couple months.
So 14.9 Christian is that he already is looking at all the different options and opportunities. So that's what the Kukua Institute offers.
Right.
Yeah. Any
Well-
encouragement you want to give to other students who are thinking about cybersecurity or engineering or math or science?
Look it up on YouTube. I found
Look it up
today
on
on my
YouTube.
recommendation, I found an 11-hour video on cybersecurity.
That's a good start, thank you, because a lot of us is spending a lot of time on YouTube,
Yeah.
you know, so.
So, okay, so Christian's now going to show you about the, I'll take the microphone. Okay.
Alright, so this robot, it's really fun. You can make it say plenty of things. Be warned, if you say banana, it's not gonna say banana. Or if you go banana, it's not gonna do that. I tried it multiple times, it didn't work. Alright, so here's something simple. Not yet. Alright, we're gonna make it sit down. Alright, so for this, I'm not fully sure what it's called, but it runs on a specific type of software.
Choreograph.
Choreograph?
Yeah, choreograph.
Okay. So what you're supposed to do is that you find down here, it's got a bunch of options. You find posture, and then you go to sit down, and right here you connect the lines. Now make sure it goes over here, because if not, it might break. And then you click this green play button. And there, it's sat down. You can make it stand back up again. It's the same thing. Click the green play button.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh my God. I
And
see
it
it.
step back up. You can also make it say things. You go back down to this box on the bottom, and you find animated say. It has to be animated say, otherwise you won't be able to type what you want it to say.
Okay. That's another coding tip.
You have to click this red. The automatic thing is hello, but you can make it say whatever you want it to say.
Oh, wow.
Like I can make it say,
Get real close.
It might sound a little fast.
I'm a robot.
Yeah, it says something. You can do multiple of these at the same time. So you can, oh, this one's fun. It has a dance option.
Oh, wow. Now we like that. We are people of rhythm.
The Tai Chi one it might fall down, so I'm not gonna do that. The headbang doesn't work. The only one that, like, full chance that it's gonna work is disco.
Oh, wow. Well, that was good music back then.
And it's something.
Oh, that is so cool.
The Tai Chi one has music to it, but again, it might fall down, so.
We don't want to do two. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
You want me to make like a full thing? Alright. So, I don't know how to make it wave, otherwise I'd make it wave with it, but very simple.
Yes, in programming the robot, you can program it in 3 different ways. You can actually show the robot what you want it to do, and it will remember that, and then it will do what you showed it to do. So the key thing when grown-ups, children, future is robotics. So, but you have to remember there's several ways to program the robot. One way is to show it what you want to do and put it in record mode, and it will remember what you showed it and then do it. So you can, most anybody can do that, right?
Yes, I
Okay.
can do that one. I feel.
And the second way to program it is this graphical method. This method right here, where you have these pre-built blocks, and you actually can create your own blocks as well. And so the third way to program it is if you click into one of those blocks, you can actually see the code, and that's what coding is all about. And so you can code this robot in Python. You can program it in other languages as well. But that's the main thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. He can't hear. Vern, get the mic.
Yeah.
Say it one more time.
Yes, so there's 3 ways to program a robot. One way is you show it, put it in record mode, and you show it what you want it to do, and it will remember it. And then you press play, and then it will do that. The second way to program the robot is through what Christian is doing, is through this graphical language. Christian, is this the first time you ever programmed this robot today?
Not today.
So,
I did a couple of times.
okay. Okay, so you did it at another school or something, or you did it here?
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, and so it doesn't take long so was today your first time, or you did it? Today was his first time programming using this graphical language. And so once Christian learns how to code, click into one of those blocks real quick. Just double click on one of them. Double click. Now hit the Control Z to go back. Okay, just double click, no move, just double click.
This?
No, double click on the left. Up. Control Z, there you go. Yeah, it's a little sensitive. So with a double click, see where I'm at here. I guess I can see where you're at. Well, I guess it is doing that. So Control Z, up here again. But inside these blocks is code.
Okay.
And so once you learn how to code, you can actually create your own blocks and code what you want to get it to do what you want to
It's
do.
so fascinating.
Yeah, so you can X out that code and then you can go back to what you're doing. But the sophistication of a robot like this is that in college, the students actually have teams of these robots playing soccer against each other on their own.
Oh, wow.
That's how sophisticated the technology is. You can learn so many things with it. So what in the world are you trying to do there?
I made a small little thing for it to do. I'm just gonna play it.
while I'm on TV. Oh, you want to see me do a dance? That was fun.
I messed it up. I forgot to make it stand back up. Sorry. Not sure.
While I'm on TV. Oh, you want to see me do a dance?
Wow. I'm telling you, get down, get down. Oh,
That was
that's awesome.
fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
There you go, Christian.
Yeah, so that's all in one day, a couple hours. that's you just first day programming a robot, and what we like to do here is teach people about history. So we take stories that happened here in Belmont the Villiers with the people that achieved a lot, and we take those stories and we combine them with the robotics, so they learn about the history and achievements of black people, and they also learn about the future of work, robotics.
That is super. You guys are doing a magnificent work down here on the box, and you're keeping it alive.
So why don't you tell them about what you learned about
Come on,
entrepreneurship?
Miss Danielle. This is Christian's mother, Danielle.
Hey, mother.
I'm Danielle Harris, and I learned so many things about the resources that we have for entrepreneurship. Learning how to be able to make a canvas so that way we are able to do some modeling and planning for our business, knowing how to figure out what type of models we're going to set up, even to the point of even know the projections of our clientele.
Oh, that's
and the
great.
projections of our monies and what we'll be able to receive and what we need to spend out as well within
Yes.
the community. And I wanted to do my own business, and so this was a blessing for me to be able to see all the resources that were available today.
Yes. Awesome. Well, you have a smart young man.
Thank you. He's amazing.
Is this the only one?
I have a 7-year-old as well.
And how is he? He loves this.
He loves technology. So this also is a great thing. He would be learning this with his brother.
Okay.
So this would be something that he would enjoy. I wish I would have brought him because I didn't know. So next time he'll be in here as well, learning all of these wonderful activities.
Get the software at home.
Yes, and I'm gonna do that as soon as we get home. Get
And
that
I think
software.
the other thing, Troy, that's a good thing about Danielle is that she's a teacher by day, a math teacher by day.
Oh,
And
wow.
and what we see in history is that our teachers in the community, African American teachers and many others, often have additional ideas, right? So they teach, but they have creative ideas
Creative
too,
ideas,
that they want to
yes.
become entrepreneurs. So
Yes.
you can be a teacher by day
Yes.
and an entrepreneur by night.
By night.
And that's what we have surrounding them, what we call our wall of inspiration, is teachers like Danielle who are doing amazing things in the community as well. So it's an inspiration. So for a student, think of one of Danielle's students during the day, to see her and then to be an entrepreneur in the evening and weekends too, so that they can see that you can do so many things. Teaching is one
Yes.
noble profession, but there's so many other noble professions that she may want to engage in. And so that's another reason that the Institute is here. It's all about growth. So I'm so glad she came down. I know her mother, and her grandparents, and Dr. Marshall.
Yes.
And so she comes from a family of scientists, and so that's what the Kakua Institute is built on. It's people like her family, so we're talking 3 or 4 generations of scientists
that's
and
awesome.
science teachers
And mathematicians.
Wow.
in their family, and entrepreneurs.
Yes,
So I
indeed.
think that's the really neat thing about not only the history of Belmont de Villiers, but the history of Pensacola, that we're standing on the shoulders of so many amazing people who've done such great things in history. Yeah, so many other communities besides Belmont de Villiers. So we just happen to like Belmont de Villiers, the blocks.
I'm just so happy that you guys are part of the blocks. I tell you, we need more stuff like this. We have a lot of restaurants. I think we booted all the clubs out of the way. But we need more family attractions, educational attractions, because I see that as building us as a race, as a whole, getting us ready for just more than, selling for average.
Well, even,
We
so
can
even
reach the
like,
sky.
WBQP, so WBOP started down here as a radio station, started
Yes, I
right here
heard.
a block away as a radio station. And so this, this whole idea of entertainment as a business is not anything that's new to us. On our wall of inspiration, we have the
Yes.
Belmont Theater and the Negro Motion Picture.
I want to
But-
make sure I get a close-up of that.
Yeah, and we also, we have the Blues Trail here, the sign for the National Blues Trail here.
Yes.
We also had like the Bimbo Theater that we're still doing research on. We had this like early 1900s, as early as 1905, that started right here. It was a national theater. They toured all up and down the East Coast to New York. They went to Central and South America. As many as 25 entertainers. So
wow, that was
on
massive.
the vaudeville circuit, yeah, and
That
so
was massive.
so entertainment as an economic development driver is huge here. So think of the shoulders that WBQP are standing on. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got a question for Danielle. No, you can keep it on her. Yeah. So Danielle, what does it take to become a founder of a startup?
An idea. Having an idea, putting it into place and just figuring out and making a good solid plan with the model and incorporating it into your business. And that's what it takes to become a founder, is having an idea, taking that idea and putting it in place with a plan, so that way you're able to manifest whatever it is that you desire within your business.
So when do you become a founder? At what time point do you become a founder?
When you think about it,
And when you start working on it.
yeah, when you start working on it.
So what's the benefit of being a founder?
What's your benefit?
That is
That's
a
the
good one.
question. What's your benefit?
Funding. I found that there's a lot of resources for being a founder. There are a lot of resources that are available, and you don't have to pay any money out of pocket in order to get those resources. There are a bunch of websites that you can go to, and if you just have an idea and you just tell them your idea, whatever it is that you want to do with that idea, you can get monies for those things. And that's all you need, okay, in order to be a founder. Get that idea, go to those websites, and make sure that you're able to know your plan, and they will give you the money for it. Lots of money, too.
Is there any training out there to teach you how to do it?
Yes, there's a bunch of training. If you look on this computer right here, is it the lean stock? Which
Lean,
one is?
yeah.
It is the lean stack. That's a training that you can use in order to be able to figure out your idea. I think I talked about it earlier
Yes.
as well. This is the website that I was talking about, where you can figure out all of your revenue, from how much you want to make or how much you desire to make, the percentage, the referrals, the percentage of your referrals, and your sales. It has active customers and how many you will have, how many referrals, current customers, and even cancellations. So it gives you a pretty clear layout of what you should expect when it comes to whatever it is that you have as a founder.
And what's that called? It's a business model.
Yes, a business model.
Well, you look gorgeous on television.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I tried.
Awesome.
Now we see where Christian gets it from.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
That's great.
So how do you develop the skills for your employees?
Oh, over here, these are the websites that you can use. Some of these, this is on the actual Kakua Institute,
Kakua.
Institute website. There are a whole bunch of links here that you can go to in order to be able to get some skills for whatever corporation you want to use. So if you wanted to go to, where were those websites?
All the links are actually up there.
Okay, so this is LinkedIn. So you have,
Scroll down.
yeah, here we go. So they have all of these websites where you can go to, and it has like software developer. This is something where you can start learning about software development, you know, sales representatives, project manager, and it keeps going, okay? And then if you also look, 3.9 million jobs, okay? Whoa. So if you see these numbers of the jobs that are needed, and they give you free training on those specific skills.
And the longest curriculum is 12 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And all you don't, it's a high school diploma.
I'm going to sign all my boys up.
Yes, yes.
And so one of the things my son really wants to do is graphic design as well. And so if you look here, it's 654,000 jobs that are available, and it's free. So him being in high school, I can go ahead and have him start learning those skills, you know, so that way he'll be ready and he can do what it is that he loves even when he gets out.
Yeah. And the Google one, not this one right here.
This one, okay. Scroll up.
You keep going down, I guess.
Or do I keep going down? Okay. Okay,
IT.
so here are some more certifications, Google IT certifications, data analysis, and there's a list of what falls in what. And again, these are also free, right?
Yes, they're also free as well. And so at the Kakua Institute, you can also get some, we'll assign you projects as you're going through those classes, like so you can actually learn how to apply what you're actually learning. So, next one. So IBM do the job seekers first. Just click it. Left click. You right click.
Yeah, I left clicked.
So just scroll down there. So yeah, just keep scrolling down. So these are all the different things you can actually learn, job skills you can actually learn there as well. So these programs are free as well. And these are the ones that actually are free for students, like school-age students.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And so if you go back up, let me grab that mouse for you. If you go back up, so you have students, those are what we just showed was the students, and these are open to everyone. You can just go to this website and start taking these classes.
Okay.
Teachers can go here, and job seekers can, you're right, it is students. So I guess that's up to go to. Let's see. So same thing, these are some higher level for people who are actually seeking jobs. Cybersecurity, and so I think IBM is the only one that I've actually seen the cybersecurity one on. And so all of these are free classes as well. And so what we do at the Kakua Institute, like I said, is to actually provide some mentoring and some wraparound services for these, and some on-the-job training or project-based learning. And we have our students doing projects for other companies as well. And so that's the significance of these type of programs. So let's see what else we got here real quick. Apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeships. So this is literally amazing. This is the most exciting thing that's here. So these are things that are available nationwide. You see youth cyber apprenticeships right here, cybersecurity apprenticeship for youth. And these are all the different type of job pre-apprenticeship programs that are available. And cybersecurity pre-apprenticeship, these you have to be out of high school to do this, and you don't need you just have a high school diploma to do these. And so these the pre-apprenticeships are all online training as well. The software developer pre-apprenticeship, the IBM Z, which is a big computer, that is teaching you how to do that, and that's actually an apprenticeship. So you go through the pre-apprenticeship program first, and then you go through. And then you can get an actual apprenticeship. So all of these things to do, and here's some specifically for Florida. So isn't that fantastic?
That is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there's a couple other programs locally. There's ones for veterans. Chris Horse locally has a program for veterans, and if you're a veteran or a spouse of a veteran, you can actually go there and sign up. And actually, the link is on here to sign up, and fill out the application. And it covers on-the-job training. It covers any training you want, but paid work experience. So isn't that amazing?
Now that is amazing. Yes. Paid
work experience. And stay tuned to the Chris Source website, because they're going to be announcing another medical program where there's 3 medical trades that you can actually learn, and they're going to pay you while you learn those skills. Chris Source also has a program. We have 9 students working down here this summer that are Chris Source funded a 30-hour a week for them for their first job to actually get some work experience. So what we have IT assistant, graphic design assistant, project manager assistants, and so just like these same certificate programs here, so we actually get them involved in those type of projects. And a couple of them are actually working on a project for another company.
Wow.
And then another one is working on a project for another company, and the rest of them, 6 of them, they're working on projects for the Kukui Institute.
That's good.
Yeah, and so that's what work experience is, and so those are programs for students, but they call it work experience. But when you become adult, they have on-the-job training.
Okay.
So, and those are funded programs, and that medical thing, and Baptist is going to be running that. So they have funding, I think, for 168 students to learn these careers in healthcare. And so they got $1 million grant, and almost all of that is salary. So it's pretty significant for the students.
It sure is.
And so what we do here is we're going after the same type of funding to get job seekers or on-the-job training, and then we place those people at small businesses, Black-owned small businesses, minority-owned small businesses.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's what we're
Now,
that's
minority-owned businesses.
Yeah.
That's great.
Just so everybody understands, here in Northwest Florida, the Small Business Development Center, UWF, they have all the data for 2021, and that data showed they broke the data up into 3 categories: minorities excluding white women, minorities including white women, and white males. So what they showed for what those businesses had, what the loans they had got, and the money they bought from their families, or the wealth they had bought from their families, the ratio from the minority, which is mostly Black, to the white male was 10-1.
Ooh.
10-1. So
That's unfair.
well, it's just to where we are, and so that's what's going on in society. So what you have to do with these smaller businesses like that, they never get to the point where they have capacity to get the contracts and to do the stuff. Like even for us here at Kukui Institute, the help that we could get, we have to show that we have enough cash flow in order to get the grants, and so
do the grants,
and so you're at a disadvantage when you're a small minority or black-led organization. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to use these workforce programs that you see here to fund people getting on-the-job training and have these people work for these minority and black-owned businesses.
That's excellent.
Yes. And so we've been running our startup program for 2 years, Startup on the Blocks. And so we were fortunate to get some funding to get this training. This training is used all over the world and is teaching people the best practices for building a startup. And so, but what we found that our founders are coming up with some good ideas, but they didn't have the people to build their ideas, and that's what the upskilling training is all about. Is so they can get the skills to build the ideas that the founders of color, the black founders, have. And so this lean stack training, it gives you all the basics on how to design your business and pitch your business, so you can get all these free funding. So I gave an example here in Pensacola when I got started with being a founder. The first pitch competition I was in, there was for $200,000. I didn't win any of that money, but I did win $60,000 for free software from Microsoft or cloud services, which in turn into another $120,000 on top of that. From that program, I got referred to another program before I even incorporated my business. Actually even physically started. This was like a year and a half later. A company received a grant for $25,000 through a free training program to work on my business, and from that, so that's when I went out and incorporated my business.
That's awesome.
And from that program, I got referred to another program and another program and another program, and that's the way it works. But you have to learn the best practices, and this lean stack training, that's what it is. And we're fortunate with some funding from Gulf Power, now Florida Power and Light, that we can offer this training for free to our folks in the local area to help them move forward and streamline their founders' journey.
Awesome. Here's the website, ladies and gentlemen. Lean Stack.
Yeah, and you can so like when you go to the Core Institute website, there's when you fill out the thing to become a part of Startup on the Blocks, we give you access to that training for free. And so just last month on the 23rd, we had our fourth pitch competition, where this competition we gave away $5,300. But we on this one we sort of required the participants to actually go through our lean stack training.
Awesome.
Yes. So a lot of opportunities for young people and us old folks too.
All right, I sure got that website in there. And it's what now?
The coreinstitute.org. You can get the links to everything we talked about today, what we had here at our open house, and we definitely appreciate WBQP coming down to support us.
Thank you. Please thank Mr. Vernon Watson.
Mr. Vernon, what can I say? And Vernon has, we've Startup on the Blocks program next month will be 2 years, and we've already did over 100 events. We do events every Thursday night online to help people learn the best practices. And Vernon, please accept my apology. I haven't sent you those videos over there.
He's been a little busy, Vern. He's been burning the steam.
Yeah, Vernon did his part. He's got I have to drag the videos over there and to his thing. So you all appreciate what you all are doing here.
Thank you.
Get the word out to the community.
We're so happy to serve. That's our passion, to serve our community and just be a blessing to each and every one of us.
And I also want to congratulate Robin. She's the one that came up with all these ideas for all this robotic stuff and all this virtual reality.
You got a smart wife.
Tell him twice.
I'm trying to tell you, you better watch out.
Tell him twice. Tell him twice. Tell him that twice too.
Well, so it's all right to come up with an idea, but you have to have somebody to build it for yourself.
You do.
There
It's
you go.
teamwork effort. Teamwork effort. Yes.
That's right,
Tell
that's
us
right,
about it.
That's right. That's right. Troy, thank you so much. Thank you and your amazing family. It's great to meet Amy. Thank y'all
Yes,
for everything that you do in the community, and thank
You're
Vernon. Yeah, thank you, and Mary. Thank y'all so much, because what you do in the community makes a huge difference to show the community what the community is doing.
Right.
And so, for what, it's been 30 years, 30 plus
Yes,
years.
it's been
for
30. Yes, 30. Well, this year's our 30th anniversary.
Yeah, 30th anniversary for WBQP TV right in the community. So so we are so grateful every day for what you do. And it's not, Lloyd talked about, the lack in the African American community. It's not for capacity, or it's not for intelligence or anything. It's opportunity.
It's opportunity.
Yeah, and perception of people thinking that a particular color makes you less than, and we all know that that's not true.
That's not true.
Diversity is the backbone of our society, and we can't
Right.
live without diversity. You can try, but you know.
It just ain't gonna work.
Yeah, if you eat green okra all day long, you're
Yeah.
gonna look like you're gonna look like Kermit. But you
Yeah.
don't want to. That's why we eat diversity in food. So we
Yes,
want
yes.
diversity in ideas and thoughts and opportunities as well as we want diversity in people. So that's the history that we're standing on here.
And one thing about that, life would be so boring if we didn't have all this adversity.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's
You know,
right. That's right.
diversity.
That's why we're mixing the art, history, science, and technology, because it's not one thing in our past that's made us great. It's so many different things in
Collective,
our past.
yes.
That's right. That collectiveness of it, and that an individual can do one thing,
Right.
like Danielle was saying, and an individual can do another thing. We
Yes.
have diversity within individuals as well. So that's what we're standing on. The poster that we have, the image that we have, one of my favorite images is the image of Watson, the Johnson sisters,
Yes.
Elsie Johnson Jones and Myrtle Johnson Watson Brown, who were sisters born in the early 19-teens.
Oh, wow.
1914, I'm looking at the sign, 1914 and 1916, and they were science teachers right here in Escambia County, and so they supported each other, they supported the community through their sorority, through their education, through their business. Myrtle Johnson Watson Brown was a health science and driver's ed teacher, and she was an entrepreneur. She owned
Oh,
Historic
wow.
Mertz beauty salon, which is still in use around the corner. She was a real estate owner. She had houses and land, most of which are still in the family. So we're standing on these amazing shoulders
Yes.
right here. So Danielle, you're like a little Miss Myrtle Johnson. Watson Brown, right?
Thank you, that's an honor.
Right
That's
here,
an honor.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, it really shows the diversity within one person. That we have so much that we can do, not just one thing. Not just one thing. So I'm
Awesome.
so glad, and thank you for letting Christian do all that.
Thank
He's
you.
over there
Yeah.
learning like how to manually manipulate the robot. And
Charlie wants to say something before you all leave.
oh, okay. Well, here, let me give the microphone to
Charlie.
Charlie. Okay.
Thank you, WBQP-TV.
Beautiful. Thank you, young man. That is so awesome. Thank you so much. And
Great job, Chris.
can you please tell me about the pictures, just to walk through on the way out here?
So this is our wall of inspiration here. And speaking of teachers, so this teacher, this was LIOYD Birch Edwards, who passed in 1906. But this, she is listed as a teacher, Miss LIOYD Birch. She was not married in 1892 when the article was done. But this picture is sometime before 1906, after she married William Edwards, and she was a teacher a school teacher, public school teacher,
Awesome.
right here. So that's from the News Journal, 1892. Our history is all around us.
Okay, and this one here.
This one is one of my favorites. This is Nick Williams. I think it's at least 5 or 6 generations of Nicholas Williams. He was a contractor and builder. Had his office right around the corner on Belmont, and his house is still standing right across from Greater Little Rock Baptist Church. I think Greater Little Rock owns it. It's a White House right there on the corner of A and Strong.
Okay.
So the reason I like this is one of the gentlemen who was working on the building said that he did subcontracting, and he said he didn't see himself in history. And I said, well, our builders, our contractors, our architects, with these skills, our masons are all in our history. And so I wanted to put this up. This is an article from the Colored Citizen from 1920, and I wanted to put this up here to show that our trades are in history too, that they had this business as entrepreneurs for decades. And so Mr. Williams was very influential. Nick Williams often built additions to some of the public schools.
Oh, that's great.
And some of the public hospitals here. So African American history right here.
Okay.
And then this is Viola Edwards. This is I love this. This is a drawing by Professor Harold Andrews to talk about a science teacher. He was a Booker T. Washington teacher. They called him Professor Andrews. But this was his drawing, his depiction of the Viola Edwards Hospital, which was here from 1922 to 1927. So she was a nurse, Tuskegee trained nurse, and it was a 2-story, 12-room hospital.
Oh, wow.
So we think it was the first hospital owned by African Americans here in Pensacola.
Indeed.
And then here we have a picture. This is a 1902 picture of George Green, who had the furniture company, which then later had turned into the building became so people saw a Scambia Furniture Company. This is George Green, who owned and he built a 2-story furniture building right next to where Eddie Todd's building is on the blocks right there.
Oh, that's awesome.
But this is the Southern Watchman, which was a newspaper owned by Reverend McEwen out of Mobile, Alabama, and he married his daughter, so you would often see him in the Mobile paper, even though he was in Pensacola. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. This is a picture of an ad for a 1921 ad for the Belmont Theater, which was on the east side. The significant thing about this is the Lincoln Motion Picture Company, and Clarence Brooks was one of the owners here. They were originally out of California, somewhere in the Midwest, but then ended up in California. But this is the last year that they were in business, 1921, and they actually came here to Belmont de Villers. So we think this is the nation's first African-American owned movie company.
Oh, wow.
So if we think of Spike Lee,
Yes.
Tyler Perry, Ava DuVernay, Shonda Rhimes.
This is where it begins.
This is one of the places where it begins. As far as a company, we know that African Americans were in entertainment long before 1921, but as far as a company goes in the South, this is one of the first ones.
That's good to know.
They called her the Lady Barber. This is Mrs. Effie Swain Harvey. They called her the Lady Barber, and she worked at Benno and Allen Benno's. She was a beautician and a barber.
And a barber.
Yep, and they called her the Lady Barber.
And back then, they were hard to find.
So as barbers, yes, but they said she held her own.
Wow, now that's good.
They said she held her
lady.
own, and her sister had owned a couple of beauty shops that she had worked in as well. But she held her own right there in Allen Benno. They said she cut with the best of them. This is a 1911 ad in the Pensacola News Journal for the Colored Widows and Orphans Home. And so during this time, much like we're talking about the pandemic now, you had the flu then, you had yellow fever then, and so these group of community members got together, including Daniel Cunningham, George Edwards, Hannibal Watts, got together and raised money for 2 homes for people who had lost their spouses and lost their parents.
That's
so
good.
Those, just like we're seeing today, we have this tremendous loss in our community. We had this 100 years ago, which tells you that we can get through this.
We can get through this.
And we take care of if we take care of each other. And that's what they did. So these two homes were right across from the Fricker Center. So there are two houses right on East Street.
Yes.
So the houses are there now. CEII owns the land now, but this was there for over 50 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So again, you see the community taking care of the community.
Yes.
And this is an ad from the Pensacola News Journal, the Pensacola Journal, about the Belmont Pharmacy with Dr. James Polkinghorne and Dr. M.C. Beverett. So people may know the Polkinghorne name from James Polkinghorne, Lieutenant James Polkinghorne. This was his father, Dr. Polkinghorne, who had a pharmacy and a store. And their house is still here in Belmont de Villers, and their daughter lives in the house now.
That's good.
Lieutenant James Polkinghorne, so Dr. Polkinghorne's son, left FAMU and went to Tuskegee, became a Tuskegee pilot, and then he lost his life over Italy during World War II.
Okay.
So he was a rising senior at FAMU and left to defend the country and fight in the war. So this is a 1916 ad about his father and them starting this pharmacist and a medical doctor joining together to form the Belmont Pharmacy.
Okay.
And then finally, this is an 1894 article about the community meeting of what they say the colored people. So black people came together to say that we want an African American owned newspaper here.
Oh.
So this is in 1894, and it became the Florida Sentinel. So they got together, they got subscriptions together, and they said we will run ads in the paper, we will make sure that the paper survives. And it was here from 1894 until about 1912, 1913.
Okay.
And then he went back to the Atlantic, northeast part of Florida.
Okay.
But this was Matthew Louis, his wife and two children were here.
Awesome.
But Joe, so you saw people like John Sunday and Washington, John A. Gibson, Charles Call, who was a teacher. You saw Dr. H.G. Williams. People know Alice Williams, the Alice Williams Library. She was a teacher at Booker T. Washington. Her husband was Dr. H.G. Williams. George Green, who had the furniture store. These were the people who supported this, along with the community who came together to say that we want an African American owned and focused newspaper here. And it was about community development and economic development. So this is what I call our wall of inspiration. So
Yes,
if you
it
think
is.
that you have an idea, then look for someone in history who has done it, who has, under some circumstances that were pretty hard, they made their way through it to do it. So to me, that's really good to be able to see these people in history who are making their way.
Thank you for putting this up. It means the world to us. We never would have known this information.
Yeah. And it's so much.
wasn't for
This
you.
is this is not even a drop in our ocean of history. It is so much history that's around us. Even our furniture in the Institute was donated by families who made history, who contributed to the history of Belmont de Villers and West Hill. And so they contributed furniture to make sure that, people had a comfortable place to
live.
To live, yeah. Yeah, we have some furniture here from a Spanish-American War veteran. So
wow.
yeah, so from the 1800s, so it's so cool. We have some old church stained glass from 1912 from the Methodist church here in the neighborhood, and so it's so amazing to have these physical reminders of our history
Of
here.
our history,
and what we
right.
can learn from it. Because if you think of stained glass, that's art. that's science, that's construction,
Yes.
that's religion.
I never thought about it that
Yeah,
way.
that's architecture, that's preservation. So it's so much involved just in the stained
Yeah,
glass, making
making
it,
it.
and preserving it and celebrating. You know, people put their names up above it. So yeah, so someone had to design it. So it is. That's why we say that it's art, history, science, and technology. It's all around us.
Okay. Anything else you want to showcase?
We can talk about the virtual reality. Maybe
Okay.
we can get Lloyd to do the virtual
Sure,
reality. Would you like to
sure.
do the virtual reality?
Go, Troy.
Yes.
Check it out.
Okay. Let
What-
me call Lloyd over here. So can you
Get my
young
camera
Troy
stand.
up here to do the? He's gonna put on. So our virtual reality is a walk down historic Belmont de Villiers. And so what we did is we had some graduate students from the University of West Florida with Dr. Jamin Wells in the Public History Department come together and do the research from 1885 through 1930 about the blocks. And so within that 4-block area, we saw over 3,000 people live. So if you go like right down at where Blue Dot and Five Sisters is now, that is the main part of the blocks. And so it was a dense area, it was highly populated area, and so you saw all of these people here. So you would see John Gibson here, who's at the Gibson School. You would see Sam and Stella Charles here. You would see Viola Edwards, the Viola Edwards Hospital. Earlier, you'd see Lodi Birch Edwards. You'd see Effie Swain Harvey, you know, later on. And then modern, when we think about entertainment, you think of Abe's 506. Come on in, young Troy. You see Abe's 506. You see the Bunny Club, and which is still, you know, the family is still invested. Mike's family is still invested in that now, and so you see all of those buildings in history 100 years ago, and they're still here today.
That's
so what
awesome.
he's going to see is you're going to actually be able to see what the same neighborhood that you see today, what it looked like 100 years ago.
Okay.
Well, now over 100 years ago. So this research was developed by, we had these graduate students do the research. We had a computer scientist volunteers with us, to Sean, to design. We had a GIS specialist to come in and design the mapping of it. And so he's right now he's actually flying over Belmont de Villiers.
Wow.
I'm gonna let Lloyd explain what he's seeing.
Yeah, so this is like the view of the 4-block area, and so just you were seeing on the screen what he's seeing. So just pretend like you're Superman and looking around. Just look straight down and see what you see. Just look down. Look down. See off the Villiers Street, and look down at another part of it.
Look down at your feet.
Yep. So you can. Okay, and so you see over there, turn back. Oh, yes, turn the other way. And so you see the start.
Yeah, have him read that.
Yeah, go ahead and read that.
Welcome to the Belmont de Villiers neighborhood, a historical African American neighborhood started in the 1800s. Turn it around and look at the neighborhood around the years 1900. When you're ready, press the start button to begin your tour of the real blocks virtual reality experience.
Awesome.
Here, you see it? And this up top, I think is the start. Okay. So now, his phone, is that button? Yeah. So now he's at the center of Belmont de Villiers, and he's looking around. He sees what did you see there? That building you see there? Carney Saloon. That's actually Five Sisters now. That building is Five Sisters. So this marketplace, what building is that, brother?
I can't see what he was
Crossing
looking.
Five Sisters? West End Market?
Oh, that's,
I don't know which corner that is.
I can't tell, but I think that's where Reverend Powell's building is, right there.
Okay, True for You.
Yeah, that's where the Truth for You building is.
Okay. Turn it around the other way, and just so we can see what you see. There's a grocery store.
That's where Michael Allenson building is. That's the old Bonnie Club. It was the Sunday grocery store.
Okay. And see what's on the other corner? What's that place there?
Zerkelbach and Thompson Saloon. That's where the DeVilliers Square is now. That's what we call the Eddie Todd building.
Okay. All righty. So you're right in the heart of Belmont Village. You see all that brown area? That's the road. So you can push the big button, and wherever that, push it. Like hold it down. Just hold it down. Okay. So point to a spot in the blue area where you see the grid at. Keep till you find the. Okay, what happened? We saw it looked like a malfunction.
Maybe blocking because all.
Oh well, yeah, we're part of the block. Okay,
There you
yeah.
go.
So like you see what you see. Look down a little bit. So you see you see that orange dot. Wherever I release it, when I release it, that's where you be at. So turn around and read one of the things. One of this on the see like that one. Okay, see you're right there. Homemade cook. So like you can beam to one of the other houses. So you have to beam on the brown part.
Beam on the front.
Look for the orange stuff. Yeah, and see where it press. That's where you're going to be at when you release it. So do it again. The orange. Look for the get the beam in on the road. Keep moving around till you see it. Okay, now when you release it, that's where you're going to be at. So what's that? Who lived at that house there?
No. Home of Robert.
Lucinda.
Lucinda.
Home of Robert and Lucinda Lucky. So
fast.
what did Robert do?
Labor and housewife.
Then Lucinda was a housewife. So let's go to another house real quick. Okay, who lived there?
Home with John and Elise Hall.
And what were they?
Carpenter and housewife.
Okay, so the database has the people that lived there and what their occupation was.
Wow.
So the data is actually from 1886 to 1940. So all the people, it was like a database of over 3,000 people, what their occupations and what.
Not including children.
Not including children.
So
Yeah.
much more.
Yeah, so a lot of information there, and so we're going to also this past few months we've been actually taking that data and we're going to turn it into another Charlie project. So the robot will be able to talk to you about all these different people, occupations that people had, and what they did. Alrighty, that's called Real Blocks. That was our first funded project, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was our first funded project. And so how did that idea come about? Where did you get that idea from?
I got that idea from Dan Bimbo, who challenged.
Yeah,
God rest his soul. He challenged me to go block by block and discover the history. He said it was Dan Bimbo's words. He said, "I'm tired of people coming into the neighborhood and taking our information out of the neighborhood and not leaving us something." And so Mr. Bimbo challenged me to take this information block by block and show how much history and people were here. And so this was the idea. And I said, well, I'd love to be able to walk down the streets of Belmont Villas. And so, I kept Mr. Bimbo's idea for 3 or 4 years in the back of my mind. And so when it came time for us to show people how much information was there. Like you're saying, you have the meat market, you have school teachers who were here, you have janitors who were here, you have shoemakers who were here, you have dentists and medical professionals who were here, grocery store owners who were here, you had saloons, furniture company, furniture store owners, you had people who lived and worked from their home here, you had washerwomen here, drivers here, baymen here, people who worked on the water here, people who worked on the railroad. So it was such a mixed class of people, blue collar workers, green collar workers, now we call them white collar workers, who were in this neighborhood. So, and predominantly the neighborhood was over 85% African Americans, and you had other ethnicities right here, just like we're in the first Greek church in the city. So you had Filipinos, people who lived here, Jewish people who lived here, Greek people who lived here, Italian people who lived here. So, so it was a whole bunch of people. So we wanted to show the diversity of not only the people who lived here, but the occupations that lived here as well.
So with that data, also, what was where Shizuku's was?
Where Shizuku's used to be was Doc Green's pool hall.
Okay.
Doc Green's pool hall next to it, and the original 506 Club, and I can't remember before it was a 506 Club, but they named it. I forget the name, but it was a 506, and then the Saber Club.
Yeah. So when the owners were, Shizuku was actually researching that they found out in the early 1900s there were a bunch of meat stores in there, and so Shizuku's actually sort of did improve, right?
Yes, they did.
So they looked at the database and they saw through the years that actually
meat markets,
meat
things
markets, so
in
they
there.
thought that was kind of cute.
So you may want to step up just a little bit. The signal is being blocked right there, so you can't. Yeah, so you can't. So there you go. Now you can see it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So you have to step back a little bit, Troy, because the signal.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go. It's all technology, so it goes, like GPS signals and all that. And we actually we don't show it here. It was actually there, I think, in the 30s or 40s. But there was a woman who owned a gas station right there, right where the Bunny, or in the vicinity where the Bunny Club is. So there were so many amazing African American women who owned a gas station there. So many amazing people and industries who were right here. Right there in Pensacola. Of course, we were talking about WBQP. WBOP started upstairs from where Five Sisters is now, and most people know where Five Sisters is now, that was Gussie's record store. That was there for over 25, 35 years, for decades. Gussie's record store was there. And it had been Bimbo Furniture Company was there, it had been the saloon. Before that, there had been a dentist's office. Dr. Jefferson's office was there.
Yep. Tell us about one of the things we just saw was the Lucky family, and it's kind of interesting, the story. So tell us the story about Sean and the Lucky family.
Oh, the designer Sean Hoffman's family, I think it was his great grandfather, his great uncle, actually had quasi-adopted Maurice Lucky's, one of Maurice Lucky's ancestors, and Maurice and Dionese Lucky owned Gulf Cleaners, which was right where the Gordon is right now, right next to Blue Dot Restaurant. And so it was interesting that when Sean's uncle came to visit him and he saw the Lucky name, and he said, "We have a Lucky in our family." And so the Hoffman family, this white family, had adopted, not legally, but they adopted as a young son one of the Lucky family members. I think it turned out to be Maurice Lucky's father. And so it's that sort of history that they didn't even know that they were so close to their own family history right there until they saw that name. So he's stepping back in time, and I think that's the neat thing about what the virtual reality is. It's a new technology that we're showing in this historic fashion.
Thank y'all so much.
Yes, yes, Ezra Gary, lived in the neighborhood too, right?
Ezra Gary lived on Wright Street, so that's what we're going to name the museum for. Ezra Gary lived at 511 West Wright Street, and he was he worked on the water as a steward on the water. Thank y'all so much. Thank you, Kristen. Come say bye to your viewing public here. Kristen's going to say bye.
Bye.
We are resident robot experts.
That's right. And I think a budding journalist too. I think he's going to be a budding journalist too.
Okay.
Yes, he's got that personality.
He does.
And
So-
he's a YouTuber, I see already.
Oh, okay.
He's a content creator.
Yeah, so does he have any descendants that are relatives that are still?
He does. So they lived. So Ezra Gary worked on the ships that came in, mostly the passenger ships that came in from as early as 15. He was actually born in Milton, and then with his mother, after his parents divorced in about 1885, his mother and grandmother moved over to Belmont Villas and bought a house, and then later bought a house on A Street. But they, Ezra Gary then left Pensacola sometime around the 1902, and went up to the New York area, Rhode Island area to work on ships. And so in 1907, he died. He went down with the ship in the Long Island Sound on an overnight passenger ship. And so that's why we're naming the museum after Ezra Gary, because he was a black man who existed. And for history's sake, that should be enough, that
Yes.
you lived and that you worked and that you contributed to society, to your family.
Yes.
So that's why we're naming the museum after
Thank you.
him. And so he still has a great nephew who's here. He didn't know him, of course, because he died in 1907, and his nephew was born in the 40s. But he had heard about his other uncle, Charlie, Charlie Gary.
Charlie the robot.
And that's why we named the robot Charlie. Yeah,
That's
yeah. So
befitting,
we wanted
yes.
to continue that family lineage. So you don't have to be the first. You don't have to, do something wildly spectacular to be acknowledged that you existed and that you were important to history.
So how did the family, the descendants, and receive all the research that was done on it?
Oh, they were floored, not knowing about, they'd heard, and they gave us information about their Uncle Charlie, that he had, there was a gap in where we had lost him for a while in American history, and he'd actually went to Central America to work for a while. And so they were floored, and they were honored that that we had dug into this research to share it, and they got to hear this research from the students who had done the research with us. So that was really cool.
Yeah, how many students worked on that project at UWM?
I think on that project, those were undergraduate students in the public history class. I think it was about maybe 20. Yeah, I was going to say about 20 students, and they took each part of his life. So they took his family life, they took his work life, they took around the time that he was actually living, what was going on there, and then they took his death as well. And we had not known where he was located, but one of the students found that he was actually, the family's intention was to return his body to Milton, where they're buried. But we actually found that that wasn't done in 1907, that his remains were still at the North Cemetery in Providence, Rhode Island. So his remains are still there. So he died on February 12, 1907, went down with 150 other people, and they found his body frozen stiff. So that was the bad news. The good news is that they were actually recovered. His body was actually recovered. So
And
that
that's
was the
good.
good news. Yes.
So there were 20 students, and I understand one of the students that worked on the research, wrote an email to the teacher?
She did. She did. It was the only African American student in the class, and she talked about how impactful this project was. That she was really hesitant in the beginning to, to engage in this class because she didn't. Once again, she didn't see herself in history, but this public history and the Ezra Gary story and the subsequent Merrill family. Really gave her the encouragement and the excitement about public history and showed her that it's a need for her to be engaged in this history. So oftentimes when we don't see ourselves in history, we see this kind of disconnect. But each one of us and our families have our own history that's just as important as the history of George Washington and George Washington Carver, so our family's history is just as important. So that's why I encourage people not to throw away these pictures and visuals of our families. Don't just toss them newspapers and things like that, because it contains such a rich history that's going to be shared with the future generations.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so what else is in store? What's the project you're working on now?
Well, we have a couple of different projects together. As you said, the Startup on the Blocks, which came out of a need to keep the founders of color and early entrepreneurs encouraged, especially through the pandemic. I've been working on the research about the Viola Edwards Hospital, the early research about that. The Bimbo Theater, been working on
So
information
what some of the
about
things
that.
you found researching the Viola Edwards, where she grew up at?
So Viola Edwards grew up in Wetumpka, Alabama, which is right there on the Coosa River in Alabama. Her father and mother lived and worked right downtown until it was the Coosa River would flood often, and after one of the floods they moved to the other side of the river. We're still trying to track some of her early life. She went to Tuskegee University. She studied there. She was a trained nurse for 3 years at Tuskegee University. And then at some point she met William Edwards, who was, he was a post office worker on the railroad. So he was a federal worker, civil service worker, pre-civil service worker. But he was a federal worker on the railroad as a postal worker. And so at some point they met and moved. They married and moved back and she moved to Pensacola sometime around 1908. And she worked as a nurse. She owned a restaurant as well here in Belmont de Villers, and then she opened up the Viola Edwards Hospital in 1922.
Okay, so the lawyer that, the NAACP lawyer that helped her out in her case, tell us a little bit about that.
Hayes McKinley, William Hayes McKinley, he lived right up the road from her in Cottage Grove, Alabama. We're still we think we've located his grave, but he was a lawyer. He went to the Detroit School of Law. He was in his 30s when he went to law school, and then went to work for one of the prestigious African American attorneys in Detroit. Then he struck out on his own, had one child that we've been able to find, and 2 wives, both of them predeceased him. And so he was influential with the NAACP, was NAACP president. He helped to, when Viola Edwards was accused of manslaughter of a white woman in her hospital and she fled to Detroit, he helped her to win the case to not be returned to Florida for fear of lynching. So it's a very prominent case. I'm doing the research on that. It's being written about for a historical book by a judge out of Boston. And so he fought a really good fight. He was very influential with the Detroit NAACP, who's hugely still influential today. So much so that when the NAACP was in New York, they listened to him when he was writing, and so they helped him with the research. We know the NAACP is in the DC area now, but at the time the national office was in New York, and so he was gaining that research to help the case right here in Pensacola.
So how are you bringing that? We saw how we're bringing it to life with the robots. How else are we bringing that story to life?
I'm writing an opera about it, and especially now that with the news about Roe versus Wade and overturning that, it's coming 100 years later. So the hospital opened in June of 1922, so celebrating 100 years of the hospital opening. So she was accused of what they called an illegal operation. So she was accused of giving this woman an abortion. So that was part of the case. The other part of the case was Viola Edwards was black, this woman was white. So there you had the racial component. You also had that Viola Edwards was a woman who owned her own hospital. She owned a restaurant. She was married and she owned her own hospital. She owned a restaurant. She had doctors, Dr. Ahrens working for her, Dr. Moon, some other prominent physicians. Dr. Dixon worked with her. Dr. McGee, A.S. McGee worked with her. So if you think of the fields and all of these and the buildings that are named for these people around, they worked with Viola Edwards. And so you also had during this time, women were just coming up for the right to vote. So what she did during this time was really significant. And so fast forward to today, when you're having this conversation about abortion and whether it's legal or illegal or a woman's right, she was facing those same things 100 years ago. So it really is, to say it's timely is an understatement, but it's really impactful though.
So just before COVID, you did the song cycle about it.
We were able to, our oldest son, Lloyd Jr., LJ is a bass baritone, a professional opera singer, and so he was the, what do you call his role? Not the stage, but he was the project manager for it. I can't forget his title, but he sang the part of William Edwards, Viola Edwards' son, husband, and then we had two people from the First Coast Opera come in, two professional opera singers come in to sing as part of with the song cycle. We had Edward Washington III, who came in from the New York Metropolitan Opera, come in to sing, and a graduate student, Kara, come in and sing the part of Dorothy, the woman who died. So we had her come in and sing. So we had these 5 professional opera singers come in and do the song cycle twice, one at the University of West Florida and the other one at the Northwest Florida College, the Mattie Kelly Arts Center.
So what was it like for the performance when they started rehearsing that?
Yeah, it was amazing. They were floored by the history. They were also really floored by and stunned that that they didn't know about this history, and to bring all of these people to life was really impactful for them. They were amazed at the history. Edward, who sang the part of William Hayes McKinney, he felt such a camaraderie with them, with this struggle and with this desire to assist with this what he called a tragedy, what William Hayes McKinney called a tragedy. Not only in defending Viola Edwards, but also in the way that she was treated, and even being used as a political football between the governor of Michigan and the governor of Florida.
So what was it like for you to see that story come to life like that?
It was, oh wow, it was,
very good.
Yeah, it was, I keep saying the word floored. I mean, really, I was on my knees, not only in prayer, but just in amazement, because to see them and to feel these people, who I obviously wouldn't have met because they lived 100 years ago, but to see them recreated and to see the feelings that these opera singers, these actors put into them was an honor for me. I was humbled by the experience to be a part of it. We had an educational moment, including Laura Dorch Edler. Dr. Edler helped out with the social aspect, the social work aspect of it. Judge Barnum with her information and her knowledge about the judicial system. And so that was really amazing. Lois Henry, who was the composer, to have a woman composing this was a great perspective. She composed the music for this, and so it was to have that full conversation. It was amazing. So I feel this is going to sound weird. It's going to sound weird on TV, Troy, but I feel like I write when they are speaking to me, and to have all these voices talking to you to tell us to not forget, as Ezra Gary reminds me, to not forget me, don't forget me, to have these people, to be a vessel, to have them to channel through me. I know that's going to sound so weird, but I feel their spirit, the spirit of connecting and impact. To have that is really, I'm really humbled by it.
Last question: how did the audience for both showing the song cycle? How did the audience receive it?
Yeah, I think they were awestruck, not only first and foremost by the music, bringing those words to life. I remember 2 instances, and all of them were fantastic. But I remember in 2 instances where Edward was singing as William Hayes McKinney, and the words that Hayes McKinney told me to say was, I fight for justice, because as an attorney, and as an attorney who came from Alabama, or as a black man who came from Alabama and then went to the Detroit School of Law, and at the time Detroit School of Law was one of the few, if not the only, schools that that enrolled African American men and enrolled women right alongside the white men. And so they enrolled. They said, if you are willing and able, we will enroll you. So when he sang those words that Hayes McKinney put in me, that I fight for justice, I fight for righteousness, the audience was just, you could just see their mouths open. And then when Kara sang the part of Dorothy and the pain that she went through as a woman and not having anybody to speak for her, the audience was just amazed. It was a very, very powerful, those 2 moments, it was so many moments in that song cycle, which is a precursor to the opera. It was a lot in there.
All right, fantastic. So thanks for sharing that. I didn't realize I was going to be a reporter.
WBQP make you do that, huh?
Oh, yes. So we're excited to be a part of bringing this history to life.
Yeah. And there are so many great people who are doing that. I had the chance to talk with Dr. Marion Williams. Was it yesterday? We had a conversation about some of the things, how they're bringing Chappie to life. Him and Diane, Miss Diane over there at the Chappie James Museum. And so, a lot of us that are in this museum space now, especially African American Museum, are standing on the shoulders of the Chappie James Museum. And now we're standing on the shoulders of the Ella Jordan home, so this whole idea to preserve these physical spaces for our history it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and I think we also need to thank Mrs. Oye.
Yes, absolutely. Talk about a person who is not only preserving history, the visual history and the oral history of our community, but she's also preserving these physical spaces, like this building that we're in, the houses, and she's a large landowner here in Belmont de Villers, and the Bimbo Funeral Home, she's preserving all of these physical spaces, which is, and encouraging people to stay here, which is a beautiful thing. So we are indebted to her.
The opportunity to use this space, to do good.
Yeah. This space had one time been, I said, it was the first Greek church in the city, But fast forward, we think it was the first congregation of Jehovah's Witness. It was
Okay.
called the West Congregation. It was also the Belmont de Villers Community Center. So a lot of nonprofit organizations got their start right here. Then it became a series of different churches and things
What
like that.
about the African American Heritage?
The African American Heritage Society, this is one of the first places that I think they started in someone's house, but this is one of the first buildings that they were in. And so they had voting rights meetings here. They had different community meetings here. They had, like you're doing with employment, they had employment skills building here. So this building has seen a lot. And the spirit of this building, I think, is what is so powerful. So that just, it hurts my heart when I see a building, being demolished instead of what is called adaptive
That's right.
reuse, how to reuse that building and preserve that building, because we end up losing a lot of that physical history, and all we can put up is a sign that said, Troy slept here. That's going to come out really wrong too. But that somebody in history slept here.
That's right.
Instead of being able to see that building, like they did with the Five Sisters building, preserving that. And now when you go in, you can actually see what it was like to go in when Miss Gussie was there, when Gussie Streeter was there. You can go back into the Dwarf, and so many other buildings here, like Blue Dot. So Miss Zoe is preserving Blue Dot, So it's such a great opportunity. So if you have a chance to preserve a building, I encourage everybody to do that. It's some blood, sweat, and a whole bunch of tears, I can promise you, huh?
Yes.
It's a whole bunch of tears.
It's a challenge, but we're definitely excited to continue to make progress and take this history and teach the skills for the future of work at the same time.
Yeah.
That's kind of the neat thing about it.
Yeah.
All righty.
All right.
Thanks
well,
a lot.
I'll tell you what we're going to do is we just thank you guys, WBQP.
Yeah, we
thank you guys
Oh,
so
thank
much.
you, thank you.
Thank you.
We
Fantastic.
appreciate
for having
it.
us.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that we have, the Reshards has said it all. This is the place where you need to give them a call and come on down and take advantage of every single thing that they have to offer, because it is life-changing and it will better your future, I guarantee you. What are some of the ways that they can contact you?
KUKUAinstitute.org, KUKUA Institute.org, and there's a link on there that says Get Started, and it has the information that gets you going with the Kukua Institute.
Okay.
They can go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Kukua Institute, and our contact information is on there as well. They can see a lot of the activities that
Yes,
are going
this is so
on here
important.
in the building. Yep, they can see how the students engage in the different activities. We've had students as young as second grade here. We've had students as young as 95 years old here.
Wow, that is awesome.
And who have not only, I think the beautiful thing about the varying age in students is we not only teach them, for me, more importantly, they teach us. They impart that knowledge into us. So Facebook, we're on Facebook, and all of our contact information is on there as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw something cute today. I just thought of Walter Wallace was programming the robot.
Oh,
That is true.
and his grandson.
His grandson.
And I think his grandson is maybe 12, and Walter
That's right.
Wallace is
Yeah, I don't know how.
older
Mr.
than
Sickle
12.
Cell.
Yes.
Walter.
Yeah, so that's you're bridging the gap between the young and the old.
Yes, yes. Bringing it together.
And even with the, we had a gentleman in his 60s who was a little apprehensive about doing the virtual reality with him. You can sit down.
Okay.
Because you are going back. You saw that, Troy? You are going back, and it gives you this sense of, if you
The
turn
feel,
around too
everything.
quick, the motion, but you can sit down and do it as well.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, there's just so many ideas, so many things, but the real blocks virtual reality thing, the idea for us is to go turn these old churches in the inside and create a virtual reality for them. So you can actually learn the history of the church.
Yes, that's
Right?
a good idea.
Yeah, so that's one of the expansions of real blocks that we want want to do.
And it's very important. I think y'all should do that because a lot of churches don't know the history and how important they were in the community. Because back then, I knew that church was number one on your list, and work, family, and it just means so much.
So that's
to continue.
Yeah. So there's an unlimited number of projects you can do with history and technology. And so that's the beautiful thing. So wouldn't it be nice one day to have a robot you can have a conversation about the history?
Yes. You talking about my Star Trek? I think his name was what, Data.
But I think the other thing with the churches is the churches are often those long form historical artifacts, right? So we have Mount Zion Baptist Church here, what was St. Paul United Methodist Church, which is now the Egyptian Coptic Church. We have St. Cyprian Church. We have Talbot Chapel Church here.
Yes.
So we have such historic buildings here that have not only, what they say, if the walls could talk, but not only that what they've seen, the history that they've seen, but like you said, what they did. So if there was a meeting called about education, more than likely it was held in a church. If there was a meeting called about a civil rights march, it may have been held in a church. If there was a meeting called about a newspaper coming or the Colored Widows and Orphans Home, it was held in a church. And if it wasn't held in a church, more than likely it was probably held by someone who led something in that church. It was influential in the church.
So,
Absolutely.
so Mount Zion, I thought you said it was some famous black architect that designed it?
It was. Mount Zion was designed by Wallace Rayfield, W.A. Rayfield, who was the second licensed African-American architect in the United States.
Oh, that means something.
And Booker T. Washington actually got him to come and work at Tuskegee because it was so amazing. So here we have and it's on the National Registry of Historic Places. So right here in the neighborhood, you have St. Cyprian's Church, which started as a mission out of Christ Church downtown. And so they've been here. The movie The Green Book.
Oh.
If you remember that, Don Shirley.
I've heard of that.
It was based on the music and the experience of Don Shirley at the Carnegie Hall and his travels back south. Well, he was born right here in Belmont de Villers. And his father, the reason he was born is because his father came here to be the pastor at St. Cyprian's Church. Talbot Chapel, you saw a lot of the historic things happen. Booker T. Washington would come and would go to Talbot Chapel, would go to Mount Zion. So you saw a lot of these historical and important figures come through these churches here in Belmont de Villers.
We could talk forever about
Well,
that.
just before you leave, Brother Rashad, don't let me forget, we want to do an exclusive show for Black History. And let's walk and ride to these different churches and locations. And let's get the footage documented and the history, why it's fresh in our mind.
Got to see Robin about that.
Yeah, we just want you to tag along because you're a good commentator. But please don't just keep letting the spirits talk to you, because I can see the spirit in the history in the spirits. And I tell people we are body, soul, and spirit.
Absolutely.
And so with that, it's a connection, even with the ones that are gone home. It really is. I gotta believe that. They just can't disappear.
That's right. Well, but they left their blood, sweat, and tears, right? So think of all these people on a wall of inspiration, and those who are not there, right? So those who did this work that we don't see, they left their footprints and their fingerprints in the dirt, and they did this so that we can be here. And so that's what we're supposed to do for the next generation. They may not know our names, but they should know that somebody 100 years ago was encouraging them, like, you can do this. Don't forget me. You may not know my name, but don't forget me. But you can do this too. You can do this, just like Danielle. She didn't know these people 100 years ago, but here she is, trying to not only be a teacher by day, an entrepreneur by night, and encouraging that next generation. Yeah, that's so important.
Very important. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank the Rashads for all of their community efforts and hard work and the research that they pour into bringing all of this into a real, true reality. And I just want to say, you can catch them. Y'all have a show with us, right?
Yes, it's called Startup on the Blocks.
Start up on the blocks.
Yes,
And the Pensacola Network.
yeah, the
too.
Pensacola Network as well. Yeah, the Pensacola Network. So next Friday at 5 o'clock, we are, maybe I might want to do that because that's our ninth anniversary for the Pensacola Network, and it's our 100th event.
Give Vern a call and let's get scheduled.
Yeah.
And he's 100 years old. I'm 25. I can't say that publicly for all the viewers out there. I'm 25. And our motivational speaker, our special guest is going to be DJ Hale.
Oh, wow.
So we know her as Haley Morissette,
Yeah,
who
she's
is
good.
the amazing daughter of now one of our ancestors, right? Rachel Gaston, the Gaston family in Birmingham, Alabama, talk about some shoulders in history. The Gaston family, A.G. Gaston. Haley, young Haley Morissette, who is making sure that people can live the dream right here today. So we're excited to have her to be our guest speaker. So we're inviting everybody to come on down. We got Nisi's fried chicken from the door.
Oh my God, you can't go wrong with this fried chicken
The banana pudding.
and that banana pudding.
We're gonna have some great music and great sounds and just a great celebration. So if anyone who's ever been our special guest, you're always invited back. We appreciate we couldn't do this without our sponsors and volunteers, our sponsors like WBQP TV, WRNE.
Yes,
if I
we
can mention,
must
if I can
never
mention
forget
Robert
Robert
Hill. Well, he came on board at the very beginning.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're doing this because we have so many amazing people who are encouraging us, who are sometimes kicking us down the road to say keep going, who sometimes dragging us down, along, not down, along, and with a whole host of volunteers who make this happen. So we're so grateful, and all the great sponsors.
Yes.
Well, we're excited and we want to be a part, like we was a part of this extravagant day today. Day of education, day of learning, day of skill and training, and so much information on those websites. I'm going to put my kids, my boys, off the games and put them on a computer so they can get equipped for the future.
Let me say this because we want to make sure, this is an important point you said about your boys, is we want to move these students from being consumers, and that's great, but we want to move them to being producers of this.
Awesome.
So just the same way that you saw Troy operating that, or young Christian doing that, we want them to produce these games. It's all right
Absolutely.
to play them, but in playing them, you're being a consumer, you're paying somebody. We want you to get paid to do that. So we want you to be a producer of that technology.
And we're well connected to all the people that are going to have programs that teach people how to do that.
Okay, great.
Yes, so whatever you want, we can get you connected to.
Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
God
We
bless you.
appreciate you. Thank you.
Keep hearing the Spirit.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm with her 100%.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Mr. Vernon Watson at WBQP, and I'm Troy Mims, his partner. We want to thank also WRNE,
Yes.
106.9,
Yep.
and AM 980,
That's right.
Mr. Robert Hill.
That's right.
And we just want to thank you guys for just tuning in this evening to just look at this special presentation. And ladies and gentlemen, like they said, they got an important event coming up. And let's recap that date again.
It's Friday, July 22nd at 5 o'clock at the Eddie Todd Building in historic Belmont the Beers, and it's just going to be a lot of fun.
So this Friday, that's coming up.
Yes.
321 North de Villa Street, right in the atrium from 5 to 8. So come right after work. People say, well, how should you dress? We say, listen, just, if you need to wear your bikini because it's so hot, wear your bikini and your thongs. But the important
We are
thing,
in Florida.
We are
so-
in Florida, that's
Yes.
right. The important thing is to be there.
Don't come in there in no bikini.
Don't come in no bikini. It is hot enough in Florida, but please put some clothes on. You're going to be very distracting.
You
Very
gotta have some place
distracting.
to put the business cards, right? So, you know, if you need employees, if you need board members, if you need volunteers, if you need contracts, if you're looking for a job, if you're looking to get jobs, if you're looking to connect with people about your resources, if you're looking for church members, synagogue members,
Yes,
mosque
yes.
members, if you're looking for just people to connect with and bounce those ideas off of, the Pensacola Network is one of the great places to do that.
Yeah, a lot of the progress we've made is through these connections, and that's what it's all about. And some of the people that give you the connections, they don't realize the significance. So, like I was talking to Brian Wire, head of the Minority Chamber, and I was telling him like all these things. I mean, one of the students we have, actually, it was a result of somebody he referred us to, and that person told us about a program, and that now we have somebody on that program working 40 hours a week, and we don't have to pay them. They come here and work for it.
He's blessed.
Yeah, but
They're
that's
blessed.
but these programs are available to everybody. But if you don't know about them, you're never going to go.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's Pensacola. We never know anything until it's all gone. It's all over.
So they have several national programs to provide people to come in and work for you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, my previous business partner will be there. Will
Okay.
He, Mr. Schumann, will he be there? Jabril?
wow.
Jabril, I don't know if he's going to be in town or not.
Oh, that
Yeah,
would
we
be
was in
great.
business together for a long time.
Yeah.
Talk
so-
about a technology
So-
this
Cell
time.
phones.
Yeah, so the neat thing, he has a lot, he's had a really great journey being a startup founder. And so guess what he's doing now?
What is he doing now?
He's learning how to build stuff in the cloud.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so
That's him.
So he just recently got a certification from Amazon Web Services, AWS. So now any idea he comes up with, he can actually architect it and build it himself.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's awesome. I can't wait to see him again. It's been
Yeah.
years. We spent 7 to 8 years together.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
at the cell phone place. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Well, speaking of, I make sure that talk about spirits. We lost Troy Kyles earlier, and so Troy Kyles was he was a computer science teacher. Troy passed
6 months.
And
Yeah, he was working with us.
absolutely.
Yes.
And so Troy, when he left the cell phone place, he became a computer science teacher, and his students
At
came
SL
over here
Jones.
at SL Jones.
That was one of the first ones.
One of
that
the
came.
first ones, and they came in and helped us to set up and to make sure that the flow was right. So we really appreciate
Super.
Dean Demps. Thank you, Dean
Yes,
Demps,
Dean
and
Demps, yes.
Troy, Mr. Kyles was just so important in the formation of how we were, how we were laid out. So it's people like that who they leave their spirit on a place, and they may not even see that the next generation may not even see their work, but they'll know that it's done and that somebody cared enough for them to help out. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you for saying that. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we are entrepreneurs. We don't mind turning an idea into a reality. And we want to encourage you to do that today. And it starts at the website. If you have children, you have teenagers, even adults, we call it job training on the.
Yeah, so like for the high school students, they call it work experience, and for the adults, they call it on-the-job training. So there are a bunch of national programs, and we're trying to bring as many of those programs to the area as possible. So the idea is you get paid while you learn,
Oh, I love that.
and you get to support a small and maybe even a black-owned business.
Okay.
And
that's
people
awesome.
think you need a whole bunch of people. What is in the Christian world, say where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name.
Yes, yes.
And so you think you need a whole bunch, but when Lloyd was doing the network over in Fort Walton, they saw, 25, 30 people, and 2 people got a contract worth 20-something $million. So it's about those connections.
It's
So
about
that's
those
that's the idea. So you think you need 300 people to to really make effect. You just need the people to connect and to share those ideas, and then great things happen. It's not necessarily about the money. It sure does make it easier when you're getting your ideas out. Yeah,
All right.
yeah. Thank you again, Troy.
All right. I'm ready to sit down.
Okay, I'm going to sign off. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I am Troy Mims with WBQP TV 12.8 and 12.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and 10. And we are so excited about our new adventure, WPAN, channel 53.4.
Yes.
Yes, we're
Fantastic.
very excited.
Yeah, I heard you all talking about that. That's pretty.
And what that does is gives us all the way from the Mississippi line all the way to Destin, and far north is all the way to where's Vernon from?
Burnt Corn, Alabama.
That's it. All the way north to Burnt Corn, Alabama.
Burnt Corn, Alabama. I hope I pronounced that right. You gotta put that southern burnt corn.
We got a chance to go to Burnt Corn, Alabama, and we met his sister at one of the churches there.
We did, yep. And we told her we knew Vernon, and she still liked us. He gonna get me, but he ain't gonna call me sugar no more. It really was a pleasure to see how someone's name carries, how the good works carry. So here we are in this church with we're up there visiting with Reverend H.K. Matthews. And so it was really amazing to be there. And then we said we're from Pensacola. They said, well, you must know Vernon Watson. We're like, what? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And speaking of the Reverend H.K. Matthews, we would love to, once the film is completed, to air that on WBQP.
That was thank y'all so much for being here for that. That
You're
was
welcome.
the Florida premiere for that back in. I don't think I've seen you since April.
I
matter
haven't
of
seen you
fact.
since this very spot.
That's right. We had over 100 people here celebrating the H.K. Matthews story. That's a Lucky Johnson production,
Yes.
who is a Hollywood actor and producer.
Seen him on TV this morning.
Okay, yep. And so it's so cool to have that caliber of an actor to want to put that story in the history.
In
books.
reality, yeah.
Yeah, have you all ever aired the making of the neighborhood?
No, we need to give
You
some
need to
time.
talk to.
We need this stuff. Y'all sitting on all the videos he's supposed to send Bernie. Well, please, though, we really need those two and the other additional that you think that we need.
And I think
And call me personally where I can get them. I come pick them up or give you the drive information and just drop it in the folder.
Yes.
I think Reverend Matthew's story, they're still in post-production on that.
Okay,
So
I was wondering.
what we saw there, you could see there still needs some editing,
Yeah,
but you could see
just
the
a little.
basis.
Yeah.
You could see the basis of a good story.
Oh, I see.
There, yeah.
Yes.
And so I think they fictionalized some of those parts, which is what
That's part of
dramatized.
movie
That's part of movie making. So we're excited to air that when it does come out. But we were so grateful to be the Florida area premiere.
Chosen, yes.
Yeah, chosen for that. Yeah, it was pretty amazing to be there.
Well, please keep us up to date with that because it's a very important project.
Yes.
He's one of our living
That's right.
icons for the
That's
civil rights history.
That's right. And they just put Reverend Shuttlesworth, I think, his contemporary, and he just got a Freedom Award from the White House, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Reverend, I think it was Reverend
get the details and share it.
Shuttlesworth who got that. It wasn't Reverend Matthews, but Reverend Shuttlesworth, his contemporary out of Alabama. But
Now tell a young guy like that over there about Dr. Shuttlesworth.
Oh, so Reverend Shuttlesworth was one of those, he was a friend and a team member for Martin Luther King in Birmingham. So here you have the same way that we had Reverend Matthews here and Reverend, oh my Lord, I just forgot his name. No, with St. Paul here, the pastor of St. Paul here, who was one of the leading ones here during that 50s and 60s era. I just forgot his name, but he was the pastor of St. Paul Methodist Church right up the road here. So many others here, Reverend B.J. Brooks, and you had so many men and women, those teenagers who sat in, who walked and sat in, and all those people. Reverend Shuttlesworth was that contemporary of those people, and he fought the same way that they fought here in Pensacola. He did that fight right there in Alabama, and put his life on the line
Yes.
for that. Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth.
Yes. They didn't mind taking care of business in Alabama. So
Yeah.
your life was on the line. I'm from Alabama, me and Vernon.
You from Burnt Corn?
Bainmanette.
Oh, you're from the big city. Okay.
Yeah, just a little
Okay.
skip and hop. Yep. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you all.
God bless each and every one of you. And we cannot wait to see you again and to be live again to deliver what Pensacola is about. This has been the Pensacola Urban Network, WBQP, and I'm signing off. God bless you.
Fantastic.